there's tons of different kind of bears, but you don't see polar bears going out and being in relationships and breeding with black bears.
Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning, the 9th of February. Today we are sticking with the Delphi case because Delphi is my life now. Except it isn't, not all the time. I'm carefully following the Adam Montgomery trial, the lowlife who is on trial for the murder of his then 5-year-old daughter, Harmony. So go and check out Michelle Walks later today when I give you installment 3 of my little recaps of the trial. But today, here and now, we're talking about Delphi and we're talking about the Odinists. Yes, they've come up again. I want to talk about this comment that was left the other day to one of my videos. Can't remember which one, I just took a screenshot of it. And it's a good question. It's a question that has been asked before. It's a question that has flummoxed a lot of people. Why would white supremacists sacrifice white girls? It's a very good question. So the Odinist faction in question are white supremacists. Okay, we know they are. They admit they are. Certainly Patrick Westfall admits he is. So what they've done, these people, is they've taken the noble and fascinating old religion of Old Norse, which predates Christianity in Europe, and there's no other word for it, they've bastardized it. They're using the Old Norse religion because they see themselves as these great white warriors. They see themselves as Vikings, but yet noble and okay. It's simply good old-fashioned racism wrapped up in the guise of a religion. Odinism is a catch-all term for the various chapters that have sprung up, Indiana being one state where this is actually quite common. I think it started off in prisons, it's a gang thing. There are people, however, who have taken the Old Norse religion and they worship the Norse gods as a modern form of paganism. And they're not killers, they're not racists, they're just normal people. But it's this minority of problematic groups that have bastardized the Norse religion so that they can reign supreme, you know, the legends in their own lunchboxes. And we know this is true. We know this is true because Patrick Westfall himself has said it is. No one's allowed in his Vinlander club if they aren't of European descent. This is what he said to Sleuth Intuition.
Could you be a black person?
No. It was Europeans, man. That was it. There's plenty of all black clubs out there. There's plenty of groups that are all Mexican, Spanish clubs. This was one for the Europeans.
But importantly, in relation to this question, why would white supremacists sacrifice white girls? Well, look at it this way. They could have chosen one of these girls because one of their mothers, I think it was, had had a relationship with a non-white person. And that is being a race traitor. So in their twisted minds, sacrificing a girl whose mother has broken one of their most sacred rules doesn't seem so far-fetched, does it? Because Patrick Westfall also said this.
Nobody in Vinlander had any interracial ordeals. Just like a lot of other people in standard society, you know, because somebody doesn't agree with it, doesn't mean anything bad about them as a character or person. You know, there's tons of different kind of bears, but you don't see polar bears going out and being in relationships and breeding with black bears. You don't see red flags. You wouldn't be any kind of a probate or patch holder if that was the case. There's plenty of supporters that had mixed kids and other kids like that, but it's not as a patch holder, no.
Polar bears don't mate with black bears. Well, I think polar bears and black bears maybe are too geographically far apart to breed naturally in the wild, but grizzly bears and polar bears breed together on the outer boundaries of their territories. They're called grizzly bears. They're cute. I want one. So it's a crappy analogy that Patrick Westfall used. But to be a Vinlander, you can't have had a relationship with someone from another race. It's just not the done thing. So it doesn't seem too far-fetched for people like this to believe that a sacrifice needs to be made, I don't know, to cleanse the world again. I have no idea. I can't put myself in the mind of a racist. But anyway, we know Patrick Westfall is the leader of this particular Vinlander club in the Delphi area. But we also know he's got links further afield. We know that he took Brad Holder's patch because Brad Holder was going to church, and you can't be two things at once, right? He took Johnny Messer's patch because Johnny Messer was quite unsavoury, right? So can't have that.
Did Messer? Oh, no. Messer never did. He was a probate, and he got, like I said, you're hanging around for so long. You're a probate for so long, and that gives them every chance to find anything out in your character that's not going to be something that they want in the club. It didn't take long to find out all the scandal and his crookedness and all that counterfeit money spending and the bed bugs. His old lady carrying bugs around in her purse and pill bottles. It wasn't long before I was on my way down there to pull him. He got probate. You can see him standing there in a picture somewhere. I thought I saw his probate patch on, but he never made it into actually being a patch holder or a made man. I yanked his shit before that happened.
So this group, they're very selective. What if there were wannabes? What if there was a small group of people who wanted to get into Patrick's good books? What if a small group of people who weren't quite up to speed on all of these runes, it was them that did the sacrifice? Because the Professor Jeffrey Turco, who's a rune expert, said that it looks like someone who was very amateurish about making the runes with sticks and so on. Someone who is a great pretender, someone who is a wannabe. Doesn't seem so far-fetched, does it? No. And the latest thing that has come out is in Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin's motion to dismiss the case. This has become lost somewhat in the most recent documentation. I talked about it a couple of days ago in a live stream, but I just want to touch on it again. Before the defence had the opportunity to investigate the reason why these material pieces of evidence were not available. What were these material pieces of evidence, Michelle? They were interviews with Patrick Westfall and Brad Holder. What happened to them? Well, before they were able to get to the bottom of why the interviews with Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall appeared to be missing, even though there was an FBI summary of said interviews, Prosecutor McClelland called for the disqualification of Rosie and Baldwin. And Judge Gull, without any hesitation at all, said she was leaning towards it, and ultimately they were disqualified. But on January 31st, after being reinstated, the prosecution turned over discovery to the defence, including a letter cataloguing the evidence that the prosecutor was turning over to the defence, contained on page 5, paragraph 5 of the itemisation of discovery, are the words that explain Brad Holder's missing videotaped interview and Patrick Westfall's missing interview, if one ever existed, due to a DVR program error discovered on 9/20/2017, so the 20th of September 2017, so 8 months after the murders. All recordings up to February 20th, 2017 were recorded over. That included Brad Holder's interview on February 17th and Patrick Westfall's interview on February 19th. But recorded over with what? Because in the next sentence it says there is no detectable audio found on this drive. So what had they been recorded over with? White noise? Because you see, if files are deleted, they could be gotten back. But if they're recorded over completely, I don't think they can. They've been replaced. Isn't that convenient? So I would like to know when those recordings, whatever that was, that recorded over those interviews, the very important interviews, when was that done? Was that done in August 2023 when the depositions occurred, when the prosecution became aware that Rosie and Baldwin were going to use Odinism as their theory of third-party guilt, and they panicked? It's the same month that Mitch Westerman, friend of Andrew Baldwin, worked with him for 7 years, went into Andrew Baldwin's office and secretly took photos of crime scene photos and then sat on them for 2 months. So when was that recording over done? Was it done in 2023 or was it done in 2017 and it was an innocent mistake? Could have been an innocent mistake, or could have been done in 2017 because someone in law enforcement didn't want those interviews to sit in an evidence locker. Because by March 2017, the tips that came in about Brad Holder and his gang were just noted cleared. They've been cleared already. Someone was protecting those Odinists. Prove me wrong, someone. Prove me wrong. That's all for now. If you're following the Adam Montgomery trial, stand by later today for a video over on Michelle Walks. But until then, goodbye for now.